Are you a high-risk driver? What is a high-risk driver? You probably need to know what a high-risk driver is to know if you are one. And that's what we're going to look at today. What makes a person a high-risk driver? High-risk drivers might have a hard time finding insurance. So whether you fit that name of being a high-risk driver or not, you do have options. Go over to autoinsurance.org. Enter your zip code in their comparison tool, and you will find many quotes for car insurance that you can compare and find coverage that's cheaper than maybe what you found already. If you have insurance, you could find cheaper insurance and you could save hundreds of dollars a year. It's free to use. Go over to autoinsurance.org. So, what makes a person a high-risk driver? I'm looking at an article from the Insurance Information Institute, III.org, and they're talking about reasons why you might not be able to find insurance. And usually, if you're not able to find insurance, it's because your risk is too high. And you might think that being a high-risk driver is only something that uses factors related to your actual driving. But you could be considered a high-risk driver for factors that have nothing to do with your skills behind the wheel. So we're going to look at some of the things that may be obvious and some of the things that maybe might be surprising to you of what makes a person a high-risk driver. So first of all, let's look here. You have a poor driving record. That makes sense. You would be considered a high-risk driver if you have a bad driving record, if you have a history of collisions, traffic violations, a DUI, a DWI, those things, if you've had them in the past, you are at a higher risk for being involved in those same problems again. And when you're in a crash or when you are in a DUI crash, you're going to file a claim with your insurance company, and that's going to cost your insurance company money. And the more money you could cost your insurance company, the higher your premiums are going to be. And eventually the insurance company will have a threshold. And if you pass that threshold for risk, they will not even write you a policy. So, high-risk drivers, you may be considered high risk if you have a history of high-risk driving habits. Another thing that might make you be considered high risk is if you haven't been driving long enough. So, teen drivers. Everybody knows that teen drivers pay the highest rates for car insurance. Why is that? They haven't been driving long enough to build a record. They could be a good driver. They could be a terrible driver. Statistics show that they are more dangerous on the road than other drivers. So they're considered high risk and they pay higher rates. You don't have to pay the highest rates possible. You can compare auto insurance quotes and find coverage for hopefully a lot less than what you're paying now. Go to autoinsurance.org, use their free quote comparison tool, and answer some questions, and you'll be given many quotes that you can compare. It saves a lot of time from going to each company individually, and it's free to use, and it could save you hundreds of dollars. So definitely something worth looking into. You have no insurance record or bad insurance record. So usually when you're a new driver, what comes along with that is being a new insurance customer. But also if you have a bad insurance record, so maybe you haven't been in a crash, but you have filed many claims. Perhaps your car has been stolen in front of your house. Perhaps there's been a hurricane that rolled through. Perhaps you have hit a deer. All those things are going to increase your risk and could make you a high-risk driver to an insurance company. And then you have a bad credit rating. And you might think, a credit rating? What does that have to do with insurance? Well, many insurers use credit information as a predictor of risk. So people that don't manage their credit effectively tend to make more claims. And whether or not you agree with that, insurance companies have data that backs up this claim that you're a more high-risk driver if your credit score is poor. Now, in some states, your credit score is not allowed to be a factor in your insurance premiums, but in most places, the insurer is going to use information from your credit report. It's not exactly the same as your credit score, but it is information from your same credit report. Don't get stuck paying premiums that are so high just because you have bad credit. Go to autoinsurance.org, enter your zip code, and get on your way to saving money. Don't overpay. Another thing that could make you a high-risk driver: you live in an area where theft and vandalism losses are high. That goes along with having a bad insurance record. Even if you haven't filed a claim, but you're living somewhere where your risk is higher, the insurance company is going to put you at a higher risk level. And then finally, you own a special or high performance car. Sports cars, high performance cars, they can be a lot of fun to drive, but sometimes it's hard to keep that power under control. And so insurance companies will tend to charge higher rates to drivers with sports cars because of the risk associated with driving a sports car. First of all, you have the ability to accelerate very quickly. You can drive very fast. And honestly, they're not always the safest cars, so that if you were to crash, you would maybe have a higher chance of having significant injuries as a result. And the car may be more likely to be declared a total loss. So if you are a high-risk driver, you have options. I'm going to open up this autoinsurance.org article, 10 best auto insurance companies for high-risk drivers. You're going to want to get quotes to compare. These companies may show up in your quotes, they may not. So keep this list and compare it to the quotes you get, so that if some of these companies don't show up in your quotes, you can go directly to that company and get a quote from them. So the top pick overall is Progressive. Second best for high-risk drivers is Geico, and third best is State Farm. And let's just round out the top 10 list. We have Allstate at number 4, Nationwide number 5, Liberty Mutual 6, Farmers 7, Dairyland 8, The Hartford 9, and American Family Insurance coming in at the number 10 spot. Now, not all of these are available in every state, so you'll want to make sure that you're looking for a company that does write policies in your state. But a company like State Farm, for example, they write policies in all the states. So some of these bigger companies, you're more likely to be able to get a policy from just because they write policies almost everywhere. Right here, you can see you can enter your zip code right there in that zip code tool and get quotes. It is so easy. It's free. Instead of answering the same questions over and over and over every time you want a quote, you answer the questions one time and you get a bunch of quotes to compare. And that will save you time and hopefully, more importantly, save you money. If you learned something today about what it means to be a high-risk driver, let us know in the comments. Share this video with your friends. If you are a high-risk driver, let us know if one of these companies helped you save money, or maybe you are having a hard time finding insurance and maybe one of these companies would actually write you a policy. That's great news. That's the kind of stuff we love to hear about. So check out our other videos and follow, subscribe, and we'll see you for the next video.